What's good, you guys? I hope you're doing so lovely today. I cannot wait to get into this video because it's a wild one. I don't know how this keeps happening, but every time that I decide to revisit an old news story, whether that be because I'm just late to the party or I just feel like it didn't get enough coverage, I don't feel like it was talked about enough, I always end up finding something more interesting than the story that was actually reported. Like, for example, there was that Amber Heard video that I did where she was going to be in this new horror movie, which, by the way, update, did so bad. Did really bad. And then I ended up finding out, like, all these crazy things about Elon Musk, like how he has 10 children with 3 different women. And if you don't know that video, I'm gonna link it, but I am gonna give a few spoilers. He names his kids things like Techno Mechanicus. The baby that he has with Amber is named Unog. And then one of the kids has this name, which is just a bunch of numbers and symbols, a bunch of hieroglyphics, MySpace username looking ass. And that's pronounced Ash, I found out. Found that out recently. Not happy about it, because I tried to translate that name into every single language on Google Translate, and none of them said Ash. Regardless though, if you haven't seen that video, I'll just put it somewhere around here or in the description. I'll put it somewhere, you'll find it. But anyway, that happened again. So what I originally wanted to talk about was this voicemail that Pete Davidson left for the senior VP at PETA. Her name is Daphne. She sounds like Elon Musk named you. So basically he was just cussing her out because he adopted a dog, and it was like this whole thing. She wrote this whole article saying like that Pete Davidson was a jerk because he adopted a dog, and then it turned out that he was just like allergic to most dogs, and so he could only get a specific breed, and he was getting it for his mom. I'm just gonna show you the voicemail because this part really isn't important compared to what I'm about to tell you. So let's check out that voicemail.
Thank you so much for making comments publicly that I didn't adopt a dog. I just want to let you know I'm severely allergic to dogs, so I have to get a specific breed. I'm only not allergic to Cavapoos and those type of dogs. And my mom's dog, who was 2 years old, died a week prior, and we're all so sad, so I had to get a specific dog. So why don't you do your research before you create news stories for people, because you're a boring, tired fuck you, and suck my dick.
End of message.
So that video already seemed pretty crazy. Pete Davidson just left a voicemail to PETA saying, suck my d. I didn't expect another story to come out of this, but as it turns out, the president of PETA, her name is Ingrid Newkirk, is probably the most insane woman I have ever heard of. Like, I truly do get what she stands for, but she's wild. I think she's a little too confident in the ideas that she's having for this organization, and I think she needs to tone it down a bit, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna read you some of the things that I discovered while reading about the voicemail. This has nothing to do with Pete Davidson anymore, because she just took over this interview with a bunch of information that nobody asked for. It almost felt violating. So this says that Ingrid Newkirk has no plans to retire, having just turned 74. The work, she says, is far from finished, with crises on all fronts, and PETA is infamous for doing whatever it takes to draw attention to their causes, no matter how cringe or extreme it may seem. Members have thrown red paint at models wearing fur at designer fashion shows. The organization once curated a traveling exhibition that compared images of factory farming with photos of Holocaust victims. With that being said, it gets wild. For another example of visibility at any cost, there's Newkirk's newly redrafted will, first published 20 years ago, which stipulates that she will have one of her legs broken and displayed at the Kentucky Derby to protest abuse of horses. What are you talking about? What do you mean you're gonna send your leg, a broken leg too, so they're gonna take the whole leg, break it, then send it to the Kentucky Derby? You think they're gonna receive that and go, yep, put it on display in a big case? What? Are you crazy? It also says, while her intestines, trigger warning, while her intestines will be made into sausages to send to the steakhouse restaurateur known as Salt Bay, and parts of her skin are to be fashioned into a purse and belt to highlight the cruelty of leather products, among other requests. Will these people know that they're wearing a person? Like, do you have somebody who's willing to say, I'll do it for the cause? Or are you just planning on having somebody create these belts and purses and then you're just gonna sell them without anybody knowing to make a statement, because that's illegal. He's seeping. He got little seepy hiccups. So then this interview was had with Ingrid Newkirk about the voicemail, or at least it was supposed to be about the voicemail. This is how it went. This is how it started, and it was just all downhill from there. The interviewer said, "So last week, Pete Davidson left an irate voicemail on one of your senior VP's phones because she criticized him for buying a puppy from a pet store. Did PETA leak that voicemail?" Right away, she responds, "I don't know. I was in the UK promoting my will." I have a feeling that this woman is just constantly like, somebody please ask about my will, please ask about it, please ask, because I'm gonna die soon and I need people to know. Like, nobody said anything about that, and just the rest of the interview is nothing but craziness. So let's dive right into that. They said, "Of course, your will. Do you know who's going to actually carve up your body and see it delivered to these people and organizations? How's that going to work?" And she said, "Oh, I have a pathologist. It took a while to find her. She's in California, and there's an executor who is an attorney, and it's perfectly legal. I mean, if you die in Spain and you live in Los Angeles, you can have your body shipped back, so the body will be preserved, and then they dissect it. Little bits of it can be carved up, and then it's a question of jurisdiction as to what you can send. And so there may be some restrictions, we don't know yet, but it'll be up to PETA to take my suggestions and run with them when I die." And then they asked, what were some of the additions to that? Elon Musk, he's a new recipient on there, right? We're going back to Elon Musk, that's crazy, right? And she said, "Yeah, he is, unfortunately. I'm sending him a part of my heart. Not because I love him, so don't misunderstand me. I thought of my heart because I don't think he has one. I mean, he's brilliant, there's no question, but he has had this series of experiments for Neuralink, you know, the brain implant, and these 250 monkeys have died." And then the interviewer asked, "If you had to, who do you envision carrying on your principles? Who will PETA be after you?" She says, "The reason I did the will is because I almost did die 20 years ago. I was in an airplane incident. A little tornado was tracking up from North Carolina." Ma'am, that is not at all what I asked. Wait, no. You're just shooting out whatever you want, aren't you? Alright, just keep talking, I guess. I was trying to talk about Pete Davidson and puppies, and you're like, "I almost did die 20 years ago in a plane accident in North Carolina, blah." I didn't ask, Ingrid. I didn't ask. But okay, carry on. "A small plane I was in coming from Minnesota. We had two, I think, young cocky pilots who decided they could go on in as every other plane diverted, and we got caught in wind shear. We were bashed around as if we were in a tumble dryer. I was sitting there thinking, okay, we're gonna die now. And all the department heads, the senior vice presidents who I trust and who will carry on when I'm gone, I was sitting there thinking, I shouldn't be here, which is what people think after those kinds of experiences. And that's how the will came about. I thought, well, I can use my bits as props. I won't need them. And we do encourage organ donation, actually. I've asked for people's suggestions. Some have been incredibly rude and butcher-like. My liver will go to France because of foie gras, and lungs to the governor of Alaska because hundreds of dogs have died in sled dog races. And I do want some of my flesh to be fried up with onions so that people smell it and think, oh, that smells so good. And they come over and someone says, you know that's her. And they go, oh God. I also have a lizard tattoo on my arm, and I want that portion of my skin cut off and made into a lizard skin handbag or purse. Here's the thing about a lizard skin handbag purse, ma'am. It can't be human skin, because then it's a human skin purse, and that's crazy. That's crazy. It's no longer a lizard skin purse. You understand that, right? Just because it looks like a lizard skin. Ma'am, get a grip. Get a grip. The interviewer said, I'm wondering if it's still PETA's position that there's a connection between cow's milk and autism. That was a controversial campaign a while back. She said it wasn't really a campaign, it was something that somebody had done a research paper on, and we simply reported that this research paper existed. The milk people had a commercial back then called Got Milk. Wait, I'm realizing this as I'm editing. Did she just say the milk people? The milk people had a commercial back then called Got Milk. You know what's weird to think about? Who are the milk people? Milk doesn't have a brand. Does it? Who the f are the milk people? We had a whole series of things that said, you know, got zits, all sorts of things. They said, right. And another one was got prostate cancer with Rudy Giuliani. And she said, let me tell you about that. My father had just died of prostate cancer, and if I put my father's picture on a billboard, nobody would have known who he was. Giuliani at this point was mayor of New York, of course. He was having these news conferences. He was paid by the dairy industry. He was chugging a glass of milk at every news conference, every briefing. And then it says in little brackets, editor's note, According to contemporary reports, Giuliani appeared to start drinking milk during public appearances only after the PETA ad came out, and he threatened to sue the organization. It's not clear whether he had a relationship with dairy producers, nor that any was involved in this response. Newkirk claims he had previously been seen drinking milk at press conferences, which inspired the ad. So she just made that up. And then he announced he had prostate cancer at exactly the time when my father had just died, and I had been thinking, how can I pass this on? My father, there was nothing more than he liked than ice cream and milk products, and that is linked to prostate cancer. And so we did this billboard with Giuliani's face on it, saying, got prostate cancer? And there was a lot of media around it, because it was before anybody really talked about the health effects of dairy. Now, of course, everybody knows, or almost everybody knows, and you get a lot of things saying, well, if you're going to give up one thing, give up dairy, because that's linked to diabetes and prostate cancer. And then it says PETA and Newkirk later apologized for that ad. Because they lied. They just, what do you mean you saw him drinking milk at a press conference?
Hey, put that down! Hey, that's not yours! No, get down! No! My milk!
And he didn't start drinking milk until after you put out the ad, and he was gonna sue you. Why would you put up a billboard that says, got prostate cancer? I get it. But don't use somebody's face on it that has prostate cancer. And don't blame it on milk right away. Come on. I wonder if because, like, he was only drinking so much milk after the ad, because, like, he was on that billboard, and so everyone would, like, joke, like, oh, he wants milk, he likes milk. And so, like, they would just get him milk instead of, like, water or anything else. Like, that was just in his spot every press conference. And so he was like, fine, I'll drink this stupid milk. Like, hey, you're the milk guy. Rudy Giuliani's the milk guy. Give him some milk. He needs some milk. And he's like, I'm gonna sue these people. They've ruined me. And then this might be my favorite part. It's kind of gruesome, so I apologize. Just a trigger warning here. So the interviewer asked, you had a ton of critics. Do you care what other people say? And she said, you have no idea probably how rotten it gets, because people will send us animal organs in the mail. They will put a dead deer's head up at our office door. I realized long ago that it's the message that they're angry about. It's press some buttons. It's not the messenger. They don't know me, and they don't know us. They don't know the group. It's like that thing you mentioned at the start. Pete Davidson. Right, the Pete Davidson voicemail. That's why we're here, Ingrid. That's why we're here. I want to, like, backtrack a bit, though, to that where she said, you have no idea how rotten it gets, because people will send us animal organs in the mail. Ma'am, I hate to break it to you, but that's exactly what you're trying to do. To many people who don't know you, why do you think that it's okay to just ship out your whole body? You wanted to feed your body parts to people. You want people to smell it, go, that smells so good, and some creep who cooked it to walk up to them and go,
you know that's her, right?
you know how awful that would be? Nobody asked for that. Nobody wants that. And it's not that individual person's fault. You gotta feed it to such a specific person. Maybe if you fed it to, like, prisoners who were in jail for, like, animal abuse. That's one thing. But, like, don't just be, like, handing them out at the fair like little shish kebabs. Ew. Ew. Who is gonna ship that, by the way? Like, you think, like, your heart is just gonna show up to Elon Musk's front doorstep? In a UPS box? Ew. That's crazy. Who would ship that? There's no way that you're gonna get first class shipping, same day, delivered, one slice of the heart straight to Elon Musk. No. I do like to think, though, that Elon Musk actually, like, read through this or heard about it, and he's just living in absolute panic and anxiety, knowing that at some point, like, he's gonna get a package, because whenever she dies, he's gotta, like, pay attention to when she dies, because then it's, from there, anything could happen. It could happen at any time. Anything could show up at his doorstep. That's terrifying. He's gonna be focused on when this woman dies, so he's gonna have anxiety from now until then. Then after she dies, the anxiety's gonna kick up a notch, because now he's expecting some package to show up at his house. This could be a woman's heart, and I don't know if there's anything that he can do to stop it from showing up if they send it. So that's one way to terrify somebody. I'm surprised that she's not, like, asking her head to be, like, placed onto a mannequin or something and then put in a Kohl's. I don't know why it would be Kohl's, but I don't know why it would be Elon Musk either. I don't know why she'd be sending broken legs to the Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby has nothing to do with you, ma'am. And I guess there was also this time where the whole organization, this was her idea, dressed up like the KKK to protest dog breeding at the Westminster Dog Show. It says people get upset because it feels like you're equating dog breeding with lynch mobs. And she says, People always think their own group is special. I'm a woman. I'm not for women's rights, but I'm a woman. I get that. We'll talk about that another time, but that's beside the point. You dressed up as the KKK for a dog show? That's too far. Like, you have the right intentions, but the execution is outlandish. It is downright bonkers, ma'am. How silly you look right now. Just coming up with these ideas. And imagine doing that, like physically doing that, walking into a dog show. Even the dogs are like, what the hell are you doing? Take that somewhere else. No one asked for this. What's wrong with a dog show? Like, the dogs just look pretty and walk around because they're well trained. You dressed up like the KKK to protest dog breeding? I just don't get it. I don't get it, you know? So yeah, you would think that Pete Davidson leaving that voicemail saying, "F you, suck my would be a pretty good story, right? But oh my god, PETA cannot be coming after Pete Davidson for adopting a dog. After his died, you did no research on this, you didn't talk to him or anything, and you're over here dressing up like the KKK at a dog show. You look crazy, bro. Reel it back. Anyway, I think that's all I want to talk about. The problem is that I don't think that this woman can be stopped. Like, she's very honest about her intentions and her plan, right? She's finding the people to do it, and people are gonna do it, and nobody's stopping her. She even said, it's legal. Why is that legal? Why are we letting her do it? Like I said, I get the message, kind of, but I care about animals. I really do. And I care about people. And I just know that I would hate with all of my heart if somebody handed me a person on a little kebab when I was just trying to enjoy the fair, and what are they selling behind them? Human skin purses. Oh my god, it'd be like those one wallet things. Like, you know that shop? I don't know if like you guys have ever been to the Renaissance Fair or anything, but they have that whole tent that's just dedicated to like skin and like eye-looking leather-bound books and purses and stuff. That could be PETA. That could be the president of PETA one day. And what if we were buying it? Like, conspiracy. Anyway, y'all, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I don't know how I felt about it. I kind of feel like I need to bathe myself in holy water after reading all that, because that's nuts. And if you're still here, I would really appreciate if you could do me a solid and show me some support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and of course, hit that bing bong so that you never miss a new upload from me. And with all that being said, I hope that you have a week as beautiful as you, and I hope to see you again in the future. Now go drink some water, you neglected houseplant looking ass. I love you. Bye!
Oh, smells like French toast.